Okay, I'm starting. So now there's a description of how the girl is trying to please daddy.
Yeah.
Mit ihr nicht entwickelten weiberschen Chusch und Zirele der viel noch Wemmen der Tate bängt, wenn guckt sie an, für was schmeichelt damals, so treuerig und Wemmen sieht in ihr. So with her and not developed yet womanly intuition, Cyril was feeling who daddy was missing, who he was yearning for when he looks at her. Why he is smiling at that time that he looks at her so sadly. And just a second, they're telling me I have to do something. 1 second. To do something with the computer. Yeah, okay. So he's so sad, and he looks at her sadly, and who he sees in her. Und kei auszufüllen die Pustkeit in Tatens Herzen, hat sie genommen noch machen alle Neues von der verstorbenen Mama. And so, in order to cure or to remedy the or to feel that emptiness, to feel that emptiness that is in her father's heart. She started imitating all the movements of her deceased mother. Ihr Reden, ihr Gehen, ihr Lachen, ihr Zuschockeln, froh mit dem Kopf, her speech, her walk, her laughter, her shaking religiously like a religious woman with the head, alle Mines, all the movements, all the grimaces, welche sie hat nur gedenkt, that she only remembered, hat sie noch gemacht. All of those she imitated. So now, not only that, not only did she imitate this, but now she is using her mother's clothing. Alle gebliebene Kleidlach und Fartacher über genutzt wird und gekürzt und getragen auf sich. All the dresses and the aprons, she renewed and she shortened and she was wearing it. Und als gedei zu machen, glauben dem Eltern Taten, als die Mama lebt noch. Und als ihr Atem schwebt noch über den Stub und ihr Kohl klingt auf in alle Winkelach. And all this in order to make the lonely father believe that mother is still alive, that her breath is still flying, moving over the house, and that her voice still sounds here in all the corners. Und einmal, Shabbos zur Nacht, wenn Reb Shimele Soifer hat sich umgekehrt von Schule heim, hat bei der karger Lichtigkeit von die Chalevne Shabbos Lichterlach der sein gestorbene Weib. And one day, Saturday night, when Shimele, the scribe, came home from the synagogue, he saw by the little bit of light that was there from the Shabbos, from the Shabbos candles. He saw his deceased wife. כדי אונטון dem Taten anayem nach es Ruach und sich zirrele ausgeputzt in der Mames Shabbos, die Kasinke, in order to please her father, to give him a new pleasure. Cyril dressed up in the mother's Shabbos shawl von glanzigen schwarzen Seid gestrickt. It was made with black silk, shiny black silk. Und is in ganzen geworden ähnlich zu der Mama, and she became completely similar. She looked exactly like her mother, younger height, and her mother in her youth, bald noch der Chassanet, immediately after the wedding.
Okay, can I just interrupt for a minute?
Certainly.
This word kasinka,
Yeah.
it bothers me because a shawl is a pachela.
I know. I know. This is what I found in the dictionary, and I was wondering why a shawl on the head, because there ought to be something else. First, I thought maybe it's a Farouk.
No, it's not a wig.
Yeah,
It's not a shaitel.
No, it's not a shaitel.
yeah, yeah. So tell me.
I understand it as being like a mantilla. You know, a lace thing that women wear on the head to even to cover the shaitel. So it's
I've seen that, but you got to. And what did you call it? Mantela? I don't know what it. This is English. Yeah. This is an English
That's a Spanish word for it.
Yeah, it's something that the from Catholic women wear.
Yes, yes.
You've seen it in a film, perhaps, a woman walking with, it's like draped over her head and shoulders. It comes down like that, particularly Latin, and it can be lacy or it can be solid. But
I understand. So my dictionary didn't explain it as well as Yankev.
Well, we know this. We know this.
Thank you, Yankev. All right. Good Shabbos, or the Shimele Sofer for Zaike. Good Shabbos, Shimele described was stuttering. Kon dem Otem berhabt von Herzklappenitsch. He barely could breathe, could catch up his breath. Because his heart was banging. Banging? This is
Beating.
Beating, yeah. hat sich zugesetzt, a Blasser wie Kreid, getappt dem größten Sider in Hand, wie wollte sich gewollt überzeugen. Okay, he sat down while pale like a chalk.
Oh.
And he touched the big cedar in his hand, that was in his hand, as if he wanted to convince himself, wie sich gewollt überzeugen als das Internet, as if he wanted to convince himself that he wasn't dreaming. Dennoch hat Zirelen schwach gebeten, sie soll der Mames Kasinke aufnehmen vom Kopf. After that, he weakly, in a low voice, maybe, he asked Zirele she shouldn't wear.
She should take
she
off.
should take off. Yeah, right. She should take off that
Mantilla.
yeah. She should take it off her head. Dos Tochterke sollst du mehr nicht antun. This little daughter, don't wear it anymore. Du hörst, man darf nicht. You hear, it's not necessary. Zirale hat gleich heraufgerissen von Kopf die seidene Kasinke und mit großen Augen angeguckt dem Tatens Aufregung. Zirale right away took this thing off her head, and with big eyes she looked at the father's anger.
Agitation.
Agitation, thank you. I can only use English instruction. Yankov. Yeah. Yeah.
We can all. Let me tell you, nobody's reaching the highest level.
Sie hat sehen, als sie hat do etwas aufgetan an Narrigkeit. She realized that she did something silly here. Übergesalzen. This is she oversalted it. She exaggerated a little. Yeah.
Overdid.
Overdid it. That's another English lesson. Yeah. Okay. No, mit was ist die dosige Narrigkeit größer wie Anton auf sie, als sich der Mames Vater? But how is this silliness a bigger silliness than putting on yourself a mother's apron? Hat sie fort nicht verstanden. She still did not understand it. Ihr Kavone ist doch nur gewinn anzutun dem Taten lekovet Shabbos an iberigen Nachasruach. Mehr gar nicht. Her intention was to cause Daddy in honor of Shabbos more pleasure. Nothing else. So she doesn't understand. Von all die alle unschuldige Spielereien, was Zirele hat gespielt mit der Mames Andenken und von ihr ganzer Bergeschaft in der Balabatischkeit, ist aber die Ormkeit in Stub kleiner nicht geworden. From all those innocent playing that Zirele was playing with her mother's souvenirs, and from all her talent in homekeeping. The poverty in the house did not become smaller. Adarabbe, on the contrary, der Mames Krankheit und ihr Kavure haben aufgegessen, wo an Iberike Kopike, the mother's illness and her burial ate up any money that they had left. Rab Shimele ist reingekrochen in Choives und sagt beschriebene, okay, this is Ya'amoid. This is now about Rab Shimele, so this is you. Ya'amoid, young, yeah, okay.
Okay. So Reb Shimele ist reingekrochen in Choives und sagt, beschriebene parmetene Jerias gemusst vermaschkenen. So Reb Shimele, he got into a deep debt, and he had. Sorry,
I said right.
Yeah, and he had to mortgage many of the written parchment pages of Torah that he had written. Wie sein Steiger ist, hat keinem gar nicht erzählt. Und mit frommer Untertänigkeit war Gott getrogen sein größer Neut, als sei wie sein Aveles noch ein Weib. So as was his custom, he didn't tell anybody about this. And with pious submissiveness before God, he carried his great need in the same way as he carried his mourning for his wife.
I think that Avlis, not mourning. I think Avlis is that he hasn't come to terms with her death. And Avlis is when you have grievances against someone, is an Avla.
No, it's not the same thing. This is Avle with Ayin. This is Aveles. Aveles is mourning after the deceased.
Oh, okay.
This is a Hebrew word.
Yeah.
And Avle, what you're talking about is Ayin.
Avle. Okay.
And this is Aveles.
Okay.
Yeah. Madaf Kenen Hebrewish.
Which is both words are Hebrew. Avelis,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Both
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Men hat sich oberfort der Wust, but still, nevertheless, people knew about it. A frier nonte, der noch weiter. First, the close ones in the family, and later, the more distant people. Bis ist der Gangen zu Jeschaeles Euren, der damaliger misnagdische Rov, was hat gehabt Nomen, I als Gewir, I als Tzadik in Stott. So until it reached the ears of Shia, who was at that time, he was the Mishnagdische rabbi of the town. And he was very well known as a wealthy man and a tzaddik, a righteous man in the town, in the city.
Yankov, can I ask you a question, please?
Sure, please.
You said wie sein Steiger, and in my mind it is Steiger. I know that the pattern, but don't aren't we supposed to say Steiger?
I always said Steiger.
Oh, but you're not a Litvak.
Yeah, I think, Rochel, I think you're right. But
Thank you.
ich bin ein bisschen zermischt zwischen die.
Yeah, wir seinen alle. Yeah.
Abi mir das Jiddisch. I
Ja,
zu
ja,
A.
ja,
Zu
ja,
machen
ja.
nicht das.
Ja.
Mach nicht Joyce.
Ja,
Mach
Wir
nicht Joyce.
wissen, was es meint.
Ja.
Ja, ich sag Steiger allemal. Und,
Ja.
Okay, ich sag
jetzt
Steiger.
mein Raum. Ich sag, das gesagt anders. Ja, okay.
Steiger.
Okay. Reb Yeshayela Oliver Sholem is nicht gewinn glatt als so a liader klein Städtel dikerov. So Reb Yeshayela Reb Yeshayela was not quite, he wasn't like any other small town rabbi. Ausgeknoten von Jiches hat in die jungen Jahren getan a reichen Schiedach, a größten Naden genommen und größe Jerusches gejarschend. So his life was really shaped by Jiches, by
Pedigree?
yeah, I think you could
Status, pedigree is correct.
Yeah.
status,
Yeah, okay.
yes.
Pedigree, yeah.
In his young years, he made a very wealthy shidduch, and he received a very large dowry. He took a very large dowry, obviously from his wife's family, and he inherited a very large inheritance through his wife. Von sein Rabbonis keinmal nicht gelebt, und sein Stott Schiris alle Erev Shabbos zerteilt auf Ormelite. So he never lived off what he earned as from the city as the rabbi. Every Erev Shabbos, he distributed it among the poor. Der Cheretz for him is given sehr groß. So the respect for him was very great within the town.
Excuse me, does it mean not only did he not live off of his salary, but he was distributing his municipal salary?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was giving
Yeah.
it away.
Yes.
Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah,
Bloomberg.
and Donald Trump too.
Oh, please.
Okay,
Let's stick to the story.
all right, we're sticking. We're
Okay.
sticking like glue.
Okay. A viele beavelte Goyim pflegen schleppen jeden vom Mark zum Rabbinik Hamashele. Und Yeshayla pflegt auf sie beide Klappen mit dem gechaljeten Fäust über der Gemorra. Sie sollen sagen dem Emes. So even mistreated or cheated Goyim would drag the Yidden from the mark to Rabbi Yeshayla, and he used to bang the Gemara with a clenched fist that they should both tell the truth. It's an interesting thing that the Goyim schlepped the Yidden to Reb Yeshua.
Right. Can I stop you a minute? Goldele, here is your word, ba'avlte, the avla that you were talking about. You see, ba'avlte goyim. This is the ayin vav vav here, in ba'avlte. This is the word you were talking about. Okay.
Okay. Und Goyim und Jiden seinen gestanden Bleicher bei sein Mischpet-Tisch. Und es hat sei geklappt, Azon zu Azon. And both the Goyim and the Jews stood pale at his the table where he would give judgment, and their teeth were chattering. The top teeth on the bottom teeth. Von Reb Shimele Seufer hat der dosike Reb Yeshayele stark gehalten. So Reb Shimele, the scribe, was very fond of this Reb Yeshayele. Hat gekannt sein Frumkeit, sein Lamdonis, sein Bescheidenkeit. He knew about his piety, his learning, and his modesty.
There's the word. Bescheidenkeit.
Bescheidenkeit, yeah.
Bescheidenkeit.
So it's actually that Reb Yeshayele was very fond of Reb Shimele.
Right. That's the way I think it is, that he thought very highly of Reb Shimele.
Yeah. I translated it first the other way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's incorrect. Okay. So it's say Reb Shayele.
I'm sure it was mutual. I bet it was mutual. But anyway.
I'm sure, but this was the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Der wusste sich von hinten herum, wie schlecht es geht dem veralmeten Säufer. Hat sich Meyashev gewinnt mit der Rebbetzin, hat sich Meyashev gewinnt mit der Rebbetzin, und sie ist bei sie beschlossen geworden, zu helfen Reb Shimelen auf sehr an edlen Eufen. So it came to Reb Shimele's knowledge in a roundabout way how bad things were going for the widowed scribe. So Reb Shimele decided together with his Rebbetzin, Reb Shayele decided together with his Rebbetzin that they should help Reb Shimele in a very edel way, in a very fine, refined way, dahaina, which is Reb Yeshayele allein soll bei ihm bestellen schreiben a Reinigkeit.
There we go. There's a question.
Okay, so that he, Reb Yeshayele himself, should order from this Reb Shimele the Sofer to write a Reinigkeit is another word for a Torah.
So it has nothing to do with cleanliness.
So you see how this page goes well.
No, it gets worse. It gets more. But Reinigkeit. So that is another term that was used to designate a Sefer Torah, you would say
Sefer
a
Torah.
reinigkeit,
A purity.
a purity.
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Azayarum wird Reb Shimele sein besorgt mit Parnossa auf gute anderthalben Jahr, bis wird sich stellen auf die Fies. So in this way, Reb Shimele would be besorgt.
He'll have work.
Well, taken care of.
Be
Yes.
His livelihood would be taken care of.
Correct.
Be secured. His livelihood would be secured.
Would be
Right,
secure
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
for at least anderthalben Jahr, at least 18 months, until he could get back onto his feet. Demselben Abend hat man geschickt dem Schammes noch Reb Shimelen, soll Leman Hashem kommen zum Mare de Asia, Dasra, auf a Glas Tee. So that same evening, he sent for Reb Shimela, he sent the Shamas to tell Reb Shimela that he should come to the Mara de Asra, is the rabbi of the town, for a glass of tea. Und azoi hat Reb Yeshayele gerit zum Säufer, schmeichelendig mit Tkifes und breiten Bordereien. And in that way, Reb Yeshayele spoke to the scribe, smiling with authority, and with his broad, and into his broad beard. Zwei Sifrei Teures hat schon. So he already had 2 Torah scrolls. Ein Reinigkeit hat bekommen in Naden von und einer Birusha. The one Sefer Torah he received as part of the dowry, and the other one he received by inheritance. Einer steht in der Kalterschule, von der zweite lernt man in alten Besmedres. So the one Torah is in the cold shul, and the second one, they read from it in the old study hall. Azind, sagt hat und die Rebbetzin so leben, beschlossen, nicht Jötze zu sein mit Schus Aves und mit Drosche Geschenk und schreiben allein a Sefer Teure, Take gedei Mekayim zu sein dem Posuk. So now, he said, he had decided with his Rebbetzin, she should be well. They decided not to rely on the previous generation with this drosha geshank, with this with the gift that had been given to them by the previous generations, and they decided to schreiben allein Sefer Torah, that they should write their own Sefer Torah in order to Mekayim zu sein dem Posuk, to carry out what it says in the verse, Ve'hachut hameshulash. This is the triple chord, the eternal triangle. It comes from Koheles.
Really, wow.
And the Hebrew from Koheles reads Tovim Hashnayim
Min ha'echad. Yeah, Tovim Hashnayim min ha'echad. Yeah, and that went into Hebrew, the daily Hebrew. Tovim Hashnayim.
Yeah.
It's two people are better than one.
And one.
Right. But what does the Chut HaMeshulash have to do with it?
The Chut HaMeshulash lo b'meheira yenatek. And this eternal triangle
Mhm.
will not be broken easily.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But he's talking. Kohelet is talking about two people. It's better two people in one. So where does the third one? Where does the number 3 come from here? What?
The
Well,
scribe is number 3. He and his wife are 2, and the scribe is the 3rd.
No, I think he's
Okay,
talking
but-
about the number of Sefer Torahs he's going to have.
Yeah, he's talking. Yeah. So yeah. So Yanke, where does why is there a number 3 here?
Because the Sofer is writing the 3rd Sefer Torah.
One he received,
not-
Ah,
one
they're
he
not-
received,
Just one second, Nechama. They're not the Rov and his wife decided that they were not going to rely on the previous generation's generosity. They wanted to write a 3rd Sefer Torah, so that would be the Chut HaMeshulash, the eternal triangle.
Okay. So the Chut HaMeshulash, by the Chut HaMeshulash, he refers to the new Sefer Torah that he
Right,
is ordering.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Now I understand. Thank you.
see, I think one Sefer Torah came from the previous generation,
Yeah.
and the other one came from Drasha Geshank, meaning the gifts, the gifts of the wedding and that was what he received for the second one, and this will be the third one that they will have ordered.
Yeah. But Yanke, again, why is there? What does the word Rasha mean here? I know what Rasha means, but Rasha Geshank, this is a term.
Yeah,
You know what a
Drasha-
wedding? Go ahead.
It was part of the Nadan,
Right.
Yeah.
the dowry.
Yeah.
The father-in-law was apparently a very wealthy man, and as part
Yes.
of the dowry that he gave the
Yeah.
young couple was a Sefer Torah.
You know,
Thereafter,
Mhm.
thereafter he inherited another Sefer Torah maybe from the father-in-law, maybe from his side, because he also had the yichus.
I understand the inyan, but
Why did
does
Rasha-
sorry, does the word Rasha stand here for Sefer Torah?
No, I think I once read a story about a black wedding by Yosef Apatoshu, and he described a wedding that took place in order to rid the town of the epidemic. And at the wedding, the gifts were given at the time that the chosin does the drasha geshank. It's the gifts given at the time of the wedding. He is giving the drasha. He is giving, in traditional circles, the chosin would give such a drasha, and the gifts are given at that time. And I believe,
I see. So we have another Rav here.
no. This story described what happened at this black wedding to rid the town of the epidemic. And they use the expression.
I understand. I got my answer.
Yeah. But it's the two Reinekite, they came from those sources, and this couple, the Rav and his wife, will now fulfill the third side of the Mishulash.
Yeah. And
So-
all this, I think Jerusalem did it to you.
No,
They
No.
say Avira Yerushalayim Machkima.
no, I just,
air
that
of
particular
Jerusalem makes you
expression I
smile.
remember. But it's today, of course, well, in traditional circles, it's still done that the chosin gives
okay.
a drasha at the time.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Yankev.
So there's another sentence, the last sentence on the page.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I thought it, okay.
No, go ahead.
Und soll Reb Shimele anheben in a mazeldike show. And may Reb Shimele begin to write this third Sefer Torah in a mazeldike show, in at a time of a propitious time.
very good.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Thank you,
beautiful.
thank
And
you.
bravo to Rabbi Shaila and his wife and the Rebbitzin.
Yes.
Yeah, what about our Rav? Yeah. And now
This
our
was
Rebbe- yeah.
a wonderful segment where,
It starts
It was
out good.
yes, I like to hear nice things.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm afraid
okay.
what Rachel has told us. I fear for the rest of us. Okay.
Okay,
Oy.
Nechama.
Hot
Tamoy.
Okay. No, please. Bescheidenkeit, please. Okay. Hot-
Okay, sneeze.
Hot
sneeze.
Reb Shimele, genommen weinen vor Simcha. Reb Shimele was so overcome that he began to cry for joy. Steich, azah schia, und azah glick. Such an honor and such happiness. Für welche Verdienstin kommt das immer sei covered? For such a, for what purpose, or Verdienstin is
No,
for
no.
what?
What has he done to deserve
What
it?
has he
How's it
done?
Verdient is earning.
It's beautiful to say that.
Earning.
Für welche
What did he-
Verdienstin kommt das
Verdient.
immer sei covered?
You know,
How did
verdienen
he-
Geld. Yeah.
Yeah,
How did he
how did
earn
he-
this?
How did he
How-
earn
yeah,
such an
how-
honor?
Yeah, how does he deserve it?
A hin,
How did
a
he-
hail.
yeah.
How do I come to this? A hin, a hail.
Yeah.
Men had genommen zu Gleslach Branfen. They began with a little whiskey. Gewünscht wird sich, als wie es gehört zu sein, weil sei jiddischlicher untergenommen. And-
Unternehmung.
Unternehmung. And so they took to a little whiskey, and as is and wishing themselves everything that came to such a beautiful Jewish undertaking. Der Rebbetzin soll leben, allein hat geserviert beim Tisch. The Rebbetzin herself, no Dienstmoid, served them at the table. Und Reb Shimele Sofer is gewein oifen zibit in Himmel. And Reb Shimele was in seventh heaven. We can understand. Nor schoin fahren weggehen heim, wenn der Sofer hat gehalten bei ihm sagen a gute Nacht, ruft sich zu ihm plötzlich ob Reb Yeshiela azoi sich. So just when the Sofer was about to go home, when the Sofer was beginning to say, have a good night, suddenly ruft him the Reb Yeshiela azoi zich. What does that idiom mean? Azoi zich. How do you translate that?
Gekläumischt von der Seite. So in such a way,
In such a way as
yeah,
just from the side, apparently from the side. Jo, was hat ihm noch gewollt sagen? What else did he want to say to him? Es wollt gewein a gleiche Sach, Reb Shimele soll sich was giche nehmen a Balebuste in Stuhl, Chasene haben a zweiten Mal. So what was it that the Rav wanted to say to Reb Shimele? He wanted to tell him a gleiche, a straight thing, an equal thing, a direct thing, that as quickly as he
It
could,
would be the right thing to do.
The right,
the right
exactly.
thing, the right thing. A gleiche Sach, exactly. Thank you. A good thing to do, that he should take a balabusta, a wife, into the house. He should marry
That's the title we get. You see,
That he should-
the balabusta, the balabusta. It's not a bad title. It's just
I
that
don't know.
it
He
gets
should-
used.
Just
Huh?
a minute. Don't read too much into that, into women's lib. Chasana haben a zweite Mal.
Yeah,
Can't
To get
right
married.
on
To
that.
get married,
Yeah,
right.
To get the
Golden is
balabusta.
right. Yeah.
Balabusta is a beautiful, to be a balabusta is a compliment.
I
Yeah,
think
but
so.
But
No,
I
it's-
understand.
To have a nice house and to keep it, it's an art, believe me.
Yeah, but this is not the only. This is just you call the wife by the function that she fulfills, and I don't like it.
Okay, you don't have to. I like it.
Okay.
Okay.
To be
There's
a
something
home,
for everybody, Rachel.
you know,
Yeah,
my
but
mother,
you know, because I must make a confession. When I was sitting at home reading books when I was a child and playing the piano, my sister was folding clothes. So my mother used to call her mein balebostechke. She never called me that.
I see. This is an old wound that you're revealing to us.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
But to be a homemaker in the full sense is an art, as Gold.
It is absolutely an art.
Absolutely.
When
And-
if I come into my house and everything is in its place and it's neat and it's clean, I have Fargeniggen.
Absolutely. So do I.
Yeah.
Okay, well then,
Okay,
we're all ballabusters.
more or less, yes.
Absolutely, Goldele. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, 6 Chadoshim seinen schon, Baruch Hashem, a Rebbe noch sein Weibstod. 6 months have already passed, thanks God, since your wife's death. Genug zu pravin avlus, enough time, availus. But pravin, I always thought was like you pravin a holiday. You
Celebrate.
Also
celebrate.
observe.
Okay, to observe mourning. Es wird sein gleicher, there's the word again, I can learn it. Ifal im allein, ifal der Reinigkeit, was nimmt sich schreiben. It would be better, more appropriate for himself,
Yeah.
and also for the Sefer Torah that he is going to, that he undertakes now to write. Worum das Leib is sündig. The body is sinful. Und Tomer kunt has v'shalom shu schlechte machshoides, and should he come to, God forbid, to bad thoughts by schreiben God's Nomen, by writing God's name, is das als einem wie Chorov machen de Welt. It's as equal to, as though he would destroy the world. Hat Reb Shimela anem getun die pechschwarze Bold seine in der Blasehand. And Reb Shimela heard what he said, and he took his coal black beard in his pale hand. Rebbe, nit anders ihr Welt mich ausproben, sie ich bin genug stark. You don't have to, I understand that generally, you don't have to know if I will be strong enough to withstand the temptations of the goof of the body. Ob schon schreiben a Reinigkeit von Sadikador, von Reb Yeshila soll leben, is schreiben be Tahara beperushos. Okay,
Precious.
so now we
Yeah.
should go down to the bottom.
Okay.
Because Marcia asked me one time, in Reinigkeit und Obgesunderkeit, to write the Sefer Torah for a tzaddik of the generation, for Reb Yeshiel, he should live long, and to write in cleanliness and purity and in isolation. Der Reach von einer Isha soll sich mir nicht gefinnen. The smell, the scent of a woman, I don't want it, it shouldn't even be found near me. Azoi wie die Älteren unsere B'sha'as Matan Torah, just the way our ancestors at the time of the giving of the Torah, Azoi wie im Posuk steht, und ihr sollt waschen eure Kleider, und zu Freuenzimmer sollt ihr nicht genennen. And you should wash your clothes. In other words, you're going to be pure and clean. And to a woman's room, you're not going to get close.
Yeah.
Sit sich Reb Yeshiel ganz gelassen ahol von Bord und macht azoi. So Reb Yeshiel, who's a very, as my mother, Alei of Shalom, would have said, a very taken together personality. He very calmly pulls a hair from his beard and says the following. Reb Sofer, in Posuk steht ober euch, al tinase et Elohi. Now I need help.
Hashem,
תנסה את אדוני אלוהיך.
So
Don't test your God. Don't test
test-
your God.
or your
Yeah.
godliness, or your godliness.
Or
Don't
your God.
don't test your rank. Don't test your purity so much.
Yeah,
Zol
well,
nit-
you know, don't do something bad to see if God will punish you or not. What it means really, Yanke, is don't challenge God.
The next sentence will tell you what it means. Sollst nicht prüfen dem Obersten.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't challenge him.
Don't challenge your God. Und es
Correct.
steht, al tehit tzaddik harbe. Don't be such a groised tzaddik. Don't be such a holy man. Sei nit zu viel from. Don't be so religious. So religious.
Can you imagine a rabbi telling a parishioner that?
He's
No,
a practical man.
What he's telling him is, don't trust yourself as much. Don't dare trust yourself too much. Just follow what you're told to do. Don't dare challenge anything. That's what it
Don't
means, I think.
overdo. Don't
Right.
overdo. Don't
Yeah.
overdo. Don't challenge yourself so much. Hat sich
And-
aber Reb Shimele
We see
eingeachtet. Yeah.
we see later on that
Yeah.
Reb Shailer was correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and what I am amazed at Reb Shayele here, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting
Yeah.
again, how perceptive he is. He
Yes.
comes to the house, he sees what's going on, he tells him you have to get married, you are having bad thoughts, you
No,
are
oh, you mean later, but up until now, he's now at Reb Yeshaila's house. He hasn't gone to his house. He hasn't seen the
No.
daughter. He hasn't,
Right.
he is
Then,
just,
yeah, but maybe he has an idea. He
No,
knows.
I don't think it. We have, that's the problem with reading ahead. You have to concentrate on what's in front of
Okay.
you.
Well, what I think is he knows that the Sofer lives with a daughter, a teenage daughter, and he
Nobody thinks those kind of thoughts.
no,
Well, okay.
My
Good.
son is just a minute, Yankov, excuse me. My son is a single father who raised a daughter. Those thoughts never enter a father's mind.
That's your son. But not the cipher.
No, just a minute. You don't even think those thoughts.
People,
software
unfortunately,
instinct-
people do think those thoughts.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Those
people do.
people are pedophiles.
No. Let's not get
Yeah.
beyond
Yeah.
ourselves here.
It's just he's saying, don't over, my father would always say, don't try and be superhuman. Do what you can do. And Reb Shimela, you've lived the 6 months without a wife. Take a wife, make a normal household.
He
You'll
knows-
be better off. That's
Right,
what
he knows that it's been hard for him. He hasn't, he owes money. His wife died. He wants him to get back into a normal life. He's giving him work so he doesn't have to worry about Parnassa. And he's just a wonderful person.
Absolutely.
He is
Absolutely.
truly a tzaddik.
Well, I just wish, again, as a result of reading ahead, that he had been a little bit more forceful later on, but that will come to.
Okay.
Golda,
Yeah, can I just say one thing that
You can say two things, Yankov. What you say is worth listening to.
what when Reb Yeshayela, first of all, the close people heard about what Reb Shimela's situation was, and then it broadened out, and the community heard what Reb Shimela was going through, and they put two and two together, Reb Yeshayela and his wife, and they said, things are not going well for Reb Shimela. Let's help him. Let's assist him by getting him to write a Sefer Torah. So that's the origin of their appointing him as a sofer to write for them as a Sefer Torah. That's their motivation.
Yes. And
absolutely.
And all that Reb Yeshayela wants for Reb Shimela is for his good.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
it would be better for him to take a wife.
Absolutely.
But Reb Shimela says, no, I don't want to have a woman around, a wife around the house, because that would, and he brings the psukim to prove it, that when God gave the Bnei Yisrael the Torah, he said to them for the period before giving the Sefer Torah that they should not be together with their wives. They should be separate and be pure, in inverted commas.
He doesn't want to be tempted with a woman around. That's what it amounts to.
That's what it amounts to, yeah. But he's being over pious,
Right.
Reb Shimela.
Mhm.
And so let's not think of what happens later, but
Right.
this,
That's right. Let's not think of what happens later. It's too terrible.
yeah.
Hat sich aber Reb Shimela eingeactioned, but Reb Shimela became very stubborn. Es ist bei ihm, also zu sagen, rein in Ambitia. It went into it was his ambition, it was his goal. Nein, Rebbe.
So this, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. It's not ambition.
where are you reading?
Sorry.
No, the last paragraph.
Yeah.
What is that ambitia?
This ambitia is a stubbornness that comes out of pride.
So it's a negative. It has a negative.
It's
Aspect.
a negative, very negative,
thing.
So it's not,
became
but nothing to do with ambition as in English, a desire
it's
to
interesting.
improve oneself. This I got from the dictionary.
That's interesting. So the word, okay, we won't go into that. Nein, Rebbe, azoi lang, wird nicht enderken schreiben die Reinigkeit, für Ersatz Sadik, wie Rebbe Yeshayala is, wird noch einmal nicht chasen haben. No, Rebbe, as long as he will not have finished writing the Sefer Torah for such a tzaddik as Rebbe Yeshayala, he will not marry for the second time. Will die ganze Zeit leben in Parishus. He wants to live like a hermit. Und kedei nit zu kommen zu schlechte Machshavos, and in order to not come to bad thoughts, wird upschwachen sein Leib. And in order to not come to bad thoughts, he's going to punish his...
Weaken.
Oh, weaken, that's right, upschwachen, weaken his body. Wird fasten alle Montag und Donnerstag. He's going to fast every Monday and Thursday. Und jedemol, schreiben Gottes Namen, wird laufen total sein in mikveh. And every time before he's going to write the name of God, he's going to run to the mikveh to wash himself. Is that the usual practice for a sofer, to every time before he's writing the name of God go to the mikveh?
Before a sofer starts writing every day, he goes to the mikveh.
But that's just that one time in the beginning of the day.
No, in the beginning of the day, yes.
In the beginning of the day. Azoi wird in ganzen sein frei von jeder Sprinkele Reinkeit. In this way, he's going to be completely free from any bit of lack of purity. Anders nimmt sich in ganzen nicht unter zu treten zu azai heilige inyan. Otherwise, he's not going to undertake such a holy matter. So he's
to step toward.
To step toward. I wonder what that was. Yeah.
To undertake.
Threaten. To step.
Step. He's
to
not
approach,
going to undertake.
To approach such a holy thing.
It all sounds so good. Okay.
Yeah. Goldele. Thank you, Nechama. Goldele. Where's Goldele?
She went away.
No, she's there. She was talking. Ask her to unmute. I asked her to unmute. She's there.
Let's just continue. Hat Reb Yeshayala der Sein, als der Sofer ist entschlossen, nicht zu ändern sein schweren Nadel. Nadel, was hat auf sich genommen, that Rabbi Yeshayala saw that the Sofer was determined not to end his heavy vow.
To change
his heavy vow, was hat auf sich genommen, that he took upon himself, hat noch gegeben. He gave in. Hat afilu Reb Shimon gebencht, fahren weggehen, und gegeben ihm a schöne Matbea für Geld. Ein zu kaufen, was is his native. So he even gave him, he blessed him, and he even, before his going, and he gave him a nice coin, coin of like a prepayment for Geld.
Down payment. Down
down
payment.
payment, a prepayment, down payment,
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
that he should buy what is needed.
Okay,
Is
the Shana Matbea
Uh-huh.
is not a coin, but a sum.
Oh, a
It's,
sum,
yeah.
a shen.
Sum of money.
Okay, so he gave him a nice
The
down payment.
Yeah.
So now, Goldie, you have the last paragraph on page 225.
Golda is back.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
We
you
see
need
her.
to unmute. Golda, you need to unmute.
I apologize. I had a call that was important. I had to take it. Wunschön
Okay.
zu morgen in der Früh hat der Savulik der Zen Reb Shimele Seifer bei der Arbeit. And the next morning early, the people in the town saw Reb Shimele working at his described working. The Hakonis,
Hachanes.
I'm sorry,
Hachanes.
Hakonis zu schreiben, der Yeshia's Sefer Teure seinen Gewinnkreis.
It's preparation.
Okay,
Preparation.
to write the Sefer Torah was big. Schaben und Glätten the beste Kelberne Fellblech.
Velachlach.
Okay, it's a chet. I couldn't see what it was.
It's a chaf.
Wieder die fertige Jerias. He was smoothing and
Ruling.
the best pieces for the Sefer Torah. Vida the Fatica Yerias, but I don't know what Yerias means.
Those are
Yeah. The areas, those are the
the pieces.
of
The
parchment.
pieces, the parchment, okay. Spinnen aderen, kochen, golish, nisler. The spinning of the veins, the cooking of the golish nisler, basically. That's garnish.
It's these nuts that they use to make the ink out of.
Oh,
Just think, we now have an understanding of this process, which we didn't
right.
have
I would
before.
never have known
Well, right.
what this chapter was without
Shovin in
Yankiv.
Gletten. Gletten is to draw the lines of the.
No, viren is to rule.
It's to rule the lines.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
So it's not a line, it's an indentation in the parchment on which
Right. So
line
that he could keep it straight.
straight,
Wow.
yeah.
Kein Schumgehell hat Reb Shimele nicht gewollt zulassen zu sich. He didn't want anything to disturb him while he was doing all of this.
He didn't
No help of any kind.
He didn't want any assistance,
Mhm.
No disturbance.
not disturbance. He didn't
Yes.
want any assistance.
Oh, yes.
Gehilf,
Gehilf.
like help. Help.
Hat der Reb Shimele nicht gewollt zulassen zu sich. Okay. Nicht Ches v'Shalom Machmes Kargshaf. Could you translate that for me, Yankiv?
Okay, so not chas v'sholom, heaven forbid, because he was stingy.
Card
didn't
height.
say.
Card height.
karg hat.
Yes. Na machmes groß bloß tennis reinzukappen, die ganze
Mit,
mitzvah for sich allein. But he wanted to grab the entire mitzvah, for himself. A Kleinigkeit schreibt nach Einigkeit, whatever you shield them love out Rub. It's not a small thing to write a Sefer Torah for them Yeshayla, the Shlover rabbi. Dem Tzaddik Fundur, them Namen es klingt über ganz Reisen. The pious man from Dur, whose name rings
not,
throughout all of Reisen.
sorry,
It's Belarus.
sorry to interrupt. Der Tzaddik von Dor, he's the Tzaddik of the generation.
Oh, from door to door. Okay.
From the generation.
I didn't put two and two together. Yes.
And this Reisen is another name for Russia.
Yes.
Well, for Belarus,
yes. For the state or the region.
Yeah.
Okay, Hashem Dank.